Let's do it.
This is the catalog that shows you which ships you have access to from the shipyard. Every day, you can choose to continue working on the ship you've got, or start a fresh one. Go ahead and pick one, anyone, and we'll get to work.
Only because I've been playing this game for a while, I'm going to do the larger one here. It has the higher value. But again, this game is easy. It's fun, relaxing. That's why I enjoy it. So we're not going to run into a whole bunch of issues with it.
She's all yours, Cutter. Your primary goal is to reach rank 3. Now try to remember, nanocarbon goes in the processor, aluminum goes in the furnace. Try to salvage the entire ship if you can. We call it using the whole buffalo. You'll hit your certs faster that way, and start knocking out that debt of yours. I'll be observing and giving you any help if you need it. Good luck, Cutter.
All right. So first thing I need to do is, during my streams, I turn off the audio because I play different music, but I'm gonna throw the music on here. The soundtrack is really good. I will say right now it is just repetitive. I don't know if they gave me the right ship because I was expecting some other components there. Oh well. It's the first ship. We'll just knock this one out. It won't take us too long. Give it a once over, kind of get the idea of the lay of the ship. Look for your openings. If not, we go through the thrust report there. Okay, we have an opening right there. That's good. We'll go up on top of the ship. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Bottom of the ship. All good there as well. All right. So first thing we'll do is we can slip right on in here, and we have these cut points that will start helping us take off the sides of the ship. And we have options, but we'll get lazy and use the saw blade for these. It's a matter of preference, but you need to be careful if you're going to use the saw blade, because in some cases that saw blade extends out in a wide cut, and you could actually cut something you don't want to. But in the first couple of ships here and such, it's not that big of a not that big of a deal. And yes, it does clip through. Okay, so then we can that says it still thinks it's connected, which is fine. Okay, well.
Now I know these ships look intimidating to scrap at first, but trust me, soon enough you'll be stripping the huge Gecko-class freighters like they're nothing. Got my start salvaging back down Earthside in the droid scrapping business. You know what made me come up here? Well, one day we got a batch of this particular model in. One of them kinds with synthetic skin and everything. We almost never saw people looking ones like that. They were always too expensive to manufacture. Seems someone found a warehouse full of them, mothballed for, 20 years or so, since the AI ban took effect. Probably bought the whole lot for pennies, thinking they could turn a tighter profit with the salvage. No word of a lie. These things look exactly like my stepbrother did. Even had the same slack-jawed expression. Now, Jed and I wasn't exactly pals or nothing. All the same, I couldn't bring myself to start smashing that dopey face. And that's when I looked into getting on with LYNX. Tell you what, it's a sight better to cut up something that doesn't look like a family relation. Anyway, I'm running on. I'll clear the channel. Holler if there's anything giving you grief up there, Cutter. Weaver out.
I like Weaver. He's a good character.
Material deposited.
Okay, so that one's still connected somehow, somewhere.
Processing valuable object.
You will run into this debris that floats around that you can't get rid of. It's just part of the immersion. So we'll move on with that and start tearing apart the belly of this ship. And we'll also start taking off the rear portion of it. This is where thrusters and such would go. Yeah, always watch your temperature of your tools. They can overheat and cause issues with your suit. And if your suit runs out of health, that's where you use your next clone. Don't want to do that. Actually did that last night on stream for the first time and wasn't paying attention. Before I started streaming it, I've been doing what they call free play, which is outside of the career mode, and you have all the upgrades, and so you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And it really spoils you if you do that. If you do the free play before you do the career mode with the tutorials and such, would not recommend if you're just starting out. Only reason I did it was because one of the streamers that I watched started playing this game when it came out, and so I had a pretty good understanding of how the game worked. So I ripped into free play to get to some of the more interesting and challenging ships. But like I said, that kind of pushed me away from getting used to the game in the progression side of the world. So once I went into career mode, I was using my gear as though I had no limits on them, but clearly you do.
Valuable object processed.
Get that big one out of the way.
Salvage gained. Rewards increasing.
Bump the ship around a bit, it doesn't hurt anything. For now, anyway. It will once we start getting into the more complex ships. But right now, this is just a piece of cake. I'm not going to worry too much about a lot of the stuff that we will. Let's see, what else?
Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded.
Yeah, see, there's that wide cut that if you're not careful, you can cut into something that you don't want to. Like power cells, fuel tanks, and of course, nuclear reactors. That's fun to watch those light up. Especially if the ship has more than one. You get a nice little chain reaction of 2 or 3 nuclear reactors going off at the same time. That's pretty. Except the entire ship turns into toothpicks, and that's not fun cleaning up. Okay, we'll get behind this one and just force it over.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
I love the physics in the game.
Salvage gained. Credits awarded.
I love the whole game, but it's the things like, you know, the physics that really make it interesting. It's not like, well, you can see it. It's true to life, if you will.
Object process. Credits deposited.
The weightlessness of dragging these objects that weigh tons and tons and tons. The ones that are heavier is obviously they're gonna react differently. Just that whole thing of
material process. Credits deposited.
the whole sci-fi interest that a lot of people have of living in space, doing space stuff. Tear that door off. I believe that is a processor. Yep. Okay. Put that over there.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
So the only thing I don't like about the tutorial is that they don't really walk you through how to start breaking down the frame, and stuff like that. Because there's a specific way to do it. That's just this is the specific. Yes, a specific way. That's what I'm trying to say. But what they don't tell you is that it's okay to sometimes not pull every single piece out of the ship and expect everything to go into the furnace or the processor to do what we need to do. Because there's aluminum structural beams in here that you actually have to cut through that won't go to the furnace. You're just going to evaporate them, or whatever they call them, vaporize them. Right there. These teal bars here, we have to cut those through with our stinger to start breaking down this entire frame. They don't tell you that in the tutorial. That's the only thing I don't like about the tutorial. So once you start doing that, you kind of start questioning if you're playing the game properly, and in some cases, if you hit a panel or a you know, anything that's over, I think it's 45k kilograms. I'm American, I don't know. When it says 45 kg or above, they'll yell at you, say, okay, you're starting to damage salvageable product, knock it off. And so it starts to make you question if you're playing the game properly. But in many cases, that's how you have to separate the components of these ships. How'd I miss those two? What?
Please revisit your training.
Oh, there was an aluminum panel on that one I missed. Okay. It's fine. Not too worried about it. I'm just tearing through this one because I've done this several times already. Which means I should know better than to waste stuff like that, but oh well.
Object. Credits awarded.
You meant to run into challenges sometimes. Boo-boos happen. This bottom piece down here becomes a barge later on, where they expect you to really... All right, we hit our goal 3. So now we could end it right now because we've met all our goals, but I like going for the whole ship, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now this is the part where I was saying there's precision breakdown and getting this stuff taken care of. In these cases, you have a set of doors that are in here, and you got to cut those out. Looks like in this case the doors are not here, so that's a plus. One thing we don't have to worry about. So that said, we have two ways of going about it. You can either, one, take your stinger and find these where it says structure aluminum and just burn those off, which I do a lot of that. Or you can find these big ones here, use your saw blade and cut right down the line. It's up to you how you do it. And then same thing with these other components, because you need to still cut these ships apart. And then with these bars here, we want to split those, because right now we can't move something that big, so we've got to break them up. But as you progress, you'll gain access to more powerful tools, and then other components, which my favorite are the tethers, but I am very stingy with my tethers. So as much as I like them, I don't use them that much. I know it doesn't sound right, but I'm gonna go ahead and burn this one off. Because no matter what you do, you're always going to find some component that does not want to let go. And we split that down the middle, so that shouldn't be causing us any issue. It might be these guys up here. But I swore we split those two. No, we did not. Okay. All right, stop. So just for the sake of time, we'll split it that way. Now this whole piece, there we go. That part's taken off, that one's not taken off yet. Grab that panel before it floats off. Which it shouldn't float off, but I don't like chasing stuff down. I can avoid it. So anywhere in the general area, like I say, it'll pull it in, has its own artificial gravity well. But you want to make sure if you're going towards the middle here, you have enough room to make sure your component is either going to the furnace or the processor. Since they both have their own little gravity wells, there can be contention if it's in the middle and it bounces wrong. You may have some aluminum that ends up in the processor, or some nanocarbon that ends up in the furnace, and that you'll take a hit on that. So, all right, let's get back down here. Again, with the free play that spoiled me, you're not bumped around that much when using the tools. But right now, your suit isn't that heavy, so you have a tendency to float around more than you want. And when you do the force, I call it force push, grapple push, whatever they call it, you can see that'll send you floating where you probably don't want to go. And you have to be careful, because you can float into you can float into the furnace or the processor, and then you've used a spare, as they call them. Okay, so now this go around, I'm going to use the stinger and just break down these little bands of aluminum here.
Salvage destroyed. Please avoid damaging valuables.
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. If you go over 45 kilograms, in that case it was 50, they'll yell at you. So just weigh it out, figure out how you want to take care of the ship, what's acceptable loss. You know, with aluminum, you're not getting a lot of money off of that. Then there's pieces like that that fly off when you do that saw blade. Either way, you're losing material.
Material deposited.
You can use your scanner, see where those teal bars are, the panels. Well, they call them panels, but whatever. And then determine how you want to start breaking those up. So I'm gonna go back to the way I usually do it. They can yell at me all they want. And we'll split that off. It's already been sliced, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, that one's been separated. This one has not been separated, so we'll cut that one off. And the cockpits, once we get there, I still struggle with the cockpit sometimes. And okay, we're still connected down here. Separate that one, and that should now have this entire component separated from. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that one's ready to go. This is all furnace material, so I'm not going to break my heart to just throw the whole thing. Except make sure you're not stuck inside of it before you start pushing it, because it will drag you with it. Again, no gravity, so you're a ragdoll out here. All right. So same thing. Now we're back to the full compartment, and this is all furnace material. So kick that over, and then we can start dealing with the cockpit.
Deposit accepted.
Just line it up and give it a few bumps, and there we go. Okay, now for the cockpits, the strategy that I use for this is there's some openings once we have the side panels taken off. You can get to these structural beams here, and these are the ones that we want to take off. So we're going to start with this guy over here. Don't do the panel like I almost did there. Where's the other one? I'm not down enough. There we go. We want structure aluminum. Once you have that, go ahead and melt that off. Then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. I like to start with the inner beams here. Oops. Because if you do it right, the whole inner portion of the cockpit will just slide right out. That one. Again, we don't want the panels yet. I'm actually gonna go ahead and take this one while I'm here. And that's fine when it starts floating away like this. Okay, real quick, let's go back down there. When you take off those little panels, those little aluminum bars, you can see that's where it starts to break down the structural integrity. And so that panel has come off. That one's ready to be pulled out. That's where you start breaking down the overall components by hitting these little guys. And again, stop it before you end up burning off the panel, because those are the money pieces. It's these little guys we don't care about, because they're not going to give us anything. And sometimes they do pop off a little violently, so keep an eye out for those. Okay, I think I have one more. Let's see. 2 more. They're up here. Okay. How did I miss those? Okay, now that we'll get these, that should be the end of this room. Oh, there we go. See, now it just pops out and separates that whole piece. So what we care about now in this case are these panels. We'll just throw those in the furnace. Those are still connected as one piece, so we'll break that down. But we can start taking these panels while we're here. And yeah, you'll want to make sure you kind of keep yourself as stable as possible. You know, moving these things around, they're gonna bounce you a bit, but you just do not want to end up floating into the furnace or the processor. Okay, so for the secondary portion of this, I take off these corners with the stinger. You can start doing it this way, take those corners off and such. Actually, I think this whole piece is for the furnace. We don't have anything to run to the processor. Yeah, okay, we're good. We can push this whole piece into the furnace. I keep forgetting. Sometimes they give you nanocarbon that has to go to the processor, but we're fine.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
And the last piece of the cockpit is the glass. And this sometimes, I think it's a bug, to be honest, but I could be wrong. The glass, if I can, it happens to me every time, so I'm not too concerned about it not happening. If we line up our shot, okay, you see the gap it creates right there. It outlines the gap. Then we go to the other side, essentially do the same thing. Created that gap. Then we'll go to the bottom here, cut that glass, and then cut it up here as well. Now, as you can see, the game still thinks the glass is connected. We have our cut there. Yeah, we're spinning a little bit, that's fine. We have our gap there. Oh, okay, I made a bad example. I didn't go at a proper angle on this one, that's why it's still connected. All right, don't listen to me, my bad. That, okay, well, no, it still doesn't. So the gap is there. We can clearly see a gap here. There we go. There's the gap. And if we follow down, there's a gap here. Gap there. Gap there. So we can clearly see this glass is truly disconnected from the ship. There we go, even gap there. But the game still thinks it is. I think that's a bug. But what I've been told is that the cuts have to be thick enough to register, but I don't understand that. So now it's apart. This one's still connected. I'm gonna go back up top again. Cut this one more time. still doesn't like it. Yeah, this is where I get kind of upset with the game. And I've been told by people in my chat while streaming that it has to be thick cuts, and to me it's like, well, it shouldn't have to be that thick. A separation is a separation. That's why I call it a book. So we'll get the other glass component out. There we go. Drop that to the furnace. And the rest of this is all ready to go to the processor. And for now, we just give it a couple of bumps, a couple of love taps, and it'll find its way in, and we'll watch that yellow bar on top rise with a frustrating gap and a little bit of red. Okay, so I noticed a little bit of red increased when that went in. So there was something there that still should have gone to the furnace that I missed. But end of the day, we reached all our goals. We will reach certification of rank 3, and we've used the whole buffalo, as they say. One thing I like to do is hit the scanner, take a look around, make sure I don't have anything major that's floating that may help me pump up. And we're good. So tag on to the hab. It just gets you over here a little quicker. Little tips and tricks you figure out along the way. And end our shift. Okay, so when we destroyed some aluminum paneling. The equipment mounts, I believe that's a bug as well right now, because the equipment mounts, they don't tell you if it's a processor or a furnace type material. Structured aluminum, those are those pieces that we cut up, so there's going to be some loss on that anyway. Glass, I guess I missed a little bit of glass before I pushed it to the processor. That might have been what where the red bumped up in the graph. So overall pretty good, 821,000 credits to go against our crippling debt, and we have made rank 3.
Level achieved. License upgraded.
Now we bump up the class of ship we can start breaking down.